Search my heart, search my mind, search my soul. Make me clean, make me new, make me whole.
3 months into it, I was talking with Chip one day and he says, my life's really not all that different here. I spend more time in the car, my friends are different, my activities are different, but life really is the same. It had the same rhythm to it. So I think they made the adjustment much more easily. Ken, how long does it take you to get to and from school?
Anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Well, it's pretty much the same as back in the States, I think. Because, you get up, go to school, come back, do homework, go to bed. Repeat.
It's smaller, so you know everyone in the school.
My plans, all of my dreams.
We're at Lincoln School where Chip and Ken go to school, and we are at jazz band practice, which is an after-school activity that both Chip and Ken participate in. They meet once a week to practice for about an hour. And they're so good that they're going to be playing in one of the local jazz clubs in June.
I've wanted to start a jazz band since we moved.
Search my heart.
There are many different ways that people are missionaries, that they bring different skills to the table. Being a lecturer at Methodist University is how I do it.
The most touching experience that I've had so far was when I was preparing to return on short notice back to the U.S. We were interested in trying to figure out why I was losing so much weight. And I was telling the students that I wouldn't be there for some of the last lectures. There was one student that was kind of hanging back a little, and as the crowd dwindled at the end of the class, he was still there, and then he came up to me and he looked me straight in the eye and he said, "Prof, I had something to tell you." And I was like, "Oh." And he says, "Well, the first time I met you, I was kind of curious as to what was going on. I saw you up there on the front of the classroom cleaning off the whiteboard. And that's just not a Ghanaian thing. In Ghana, the prof would have the class agent or somebody do that dirty work for him. So I listened carefully when you were first describing who you were and why you were here. And so you're a missionary, eh? Okay, well maybe that's the missionary act, you're doing that. And I just watched you then over the past weeks as you would lecture and answer questions or present material in class. And after a number of weeks, you convinced me that it wasn't an act, that that's who you were. And that humility that I saw that first day was part of who you are. What that did to me was make me think about, he is in a position of authority over our class, and he's acting in that way. I'm in a position of authority in my home as a father and a husband. Am I acting in that same way at home as I'm seeing demonstrated here? So it kind of hit me that I wasn't. And I've been consciously working on that. It could have blown me over with a feather. It was just a very emotional moment for me when he personalized what he had seen me doing as a servant here at this university to his own situation.
This is statistics. It's a level 200 course. And so these are some students that have had me now for 2 years, some of them. And so I'm starting to get to know them a little better.
Oh, I enjoy the lecture a lot.
Why?
Oh, because it's good.
What's good about it?
Oh, but I like the way he teaches.
Do you enjoy this class?
I do.
Why?
Because it's statistics and I love maths. And with Doctor, he takes his time to explain things to us. If you don't understand and then you ask him, he will take his time to explain to you. And we are sort of friends, so he has his time for me.
think over the last 2 years, God's really been teaching me not to compare myself to anyone else. It's very easy to look at missionary colleagues that live out in the middle of nowhere and say, oh, they're better than we are because they're sacrificing so much. Or to look at missionary colleagues who really have mastered speaking Chi and be jealous and say, oh gosh, they're so much better than I am, and be down on myself about those things. Or somebody who appears more spiritual, or you can compare yourself on so many different things, and God has really been teaching me that it's not about comparison, and it's not somebody's better than somebody else. It's whether or not each of us individually is doing what God has called us to do in that moment and that time. I participate in the faculty Bible study on the campus once a week. When we started asking, we'd be interested in leading a Bible study on campus, then the vice principal was very excited to have us reactivate that faculty Bible study. I'm in a women's Bible study once a week, and that is women from all over, mostly Africans, but also some North American women and some European women. So it's an interesting mix. And then I go to meetings at Methodist headquarters very regularly. I try to go down there at least once a week and spend 3 or 4 hours in the office just so I can stay plugged in with what's going on at Methodist Development Relief Services. I can sit with the others on our team and talk about the projects that are coming up, the programs that are coming up. If we have a fundraiser planned in a couple of weeks, then we can be working on the details for that. Or when we were doing our Grace launch, then we were doing a lot of work for that. Well, I was called after Synod by Calvary Vocational School, which is a Methodist training school, and we're going to go see what their water needs are. At over 10 years, which one is more expensive?
She has a passion of giving water to everybody, so she's been helping us to sell and promote the water filter, which is a simple device for making pure water. We also had the Grace project with her in the GAR mission. GAR mission is within the Accra Diocese, and they are also having problems with water. So they have waterborne diseases, which is destroying the young people, especially the youth.
Knowing our situation in Ghana, that at a time we're the second most infected guinea worm country in the whole world, second only to war-torn Sudan. And I think with their presence, especially with the acquiring the drill rig, and also the water filters, and all her contribution in that area is an aspect in that area, and we very much cherish it.
If I were going to say anything to our supporters, it would be that we're partners in this together. I think, and having been on that support side, where maybe you write a check, you pray for somebody regularly, but you feel like you're just supporting them. But from this side, it looks very different. And the work that happens here, whether it's Charlie walking into a classroom on Monday morning or me walking into a village with a water filter, it all happens with our supporters alongside us. I don't know how better to explain it than it's a partnership, and none of what we do would happen without them being a part of the equation.